Hi everyone, and welcome to the training for hosting face-to-face events. Thank you for watching this recording. You might be an event and meetup host. If so, welcome to your role, and I hope the training is useful for you. You may also be a student leadership team member or a society or club, which can host events as well. So welcome to you all. A bit of an introduction. You may already know me from the other recording, but I'm Lara and I'm a projects officer in the student community team. We look after meetups, events, societies and clubs. So for anything to do with that, any questions or queries as you go along with your role or hosting events, you can email us at oustudents-community@open.ac.uk. So today we're going to look at guidance for setting up and running face-to-face events and meetups. And we'll also look at a safety checklist as part of that to keep you safe when running your events. We'll start with a bit of a purpose for the training. So this is to enable you to host face-to-face meetups and events for students. You might want to host a meetup in your local area, like the photograph on screen is the Birmingham meetup. There's 6 people stood up and sat down around a table in a shopping centre. So that's an example of a geographical meetup. There's also other sorts of events that you might want to run. You might want to run a study meetup so you can study with other students, or you might want to host one for students with a similar interest to you or a similar subject that you're studying. So there's a lot of variety there for what you can host. The aim of the meetups is to help to build the student community and to feel connected with others. And student leadership team members and clubs and societies can host events face to face as well if they'd like to with this training. Okay, so we'll look at setting up face-to-face events. So it's really important to get all these basics right for when you're setting up your event. So first of all, there's the name of the event, there's the date and time, there's a description and a venue. So with the event name, just keep it short and clear, make sure it's obvious what it involves, where it is, for example. With the time, just choose a time that works for you. If it'll be a regular event, you can ask attendees what time or days they'd prefer and what suits them, and perhaps you could alternate between different options. You can see what works. So you can also use a drop-in pattern. So it might be between 1 or 3, for example, which means people can come and go when they like. And that seems to be quite a popular example to use, especially lots of meetups are held in coffee shops and places like that. So can be quite nice for people to come and go as they'd like to. Often most of our face-to-face drop-ins tend to be on the weekends, on Saturdays, for example. So I think, that can be easier for some people to travel on a weekend, but it's completely up to you. If a weekday works for you, that's great, and it will work for some other students as well. So you can see what works and alternate between different options. Then it's really important to have a clear description and explain what students can expect from the event. So if it's just an informal chat or drop-in, for example, it's important to explain what students can expect. So you can explain, for example, if it's in a coffee shop, where it will be, where you plan to sit, what people can do when they arrive, if they should get their drink and then join you, for example. Just really explaining exactly how it will work can help people to feel sort of welcome and that they know what to expect when they come along. You could also consider alternating between a face-to-face meetup and an online meetup if you'd like to. So that enables people to attend who might not be able to. So with online meetups, that's not sort of based on geographical area, so students can join from anywhere. So you might want to alternate between those, but you can see what attendees say in your first meetup and decide what you'd like to do. So with face-to-face events, you don't actually need a co-host for these meetups. So with online meetups, we ask you to have a co-host. It's much easier to have a co-host with online events as you can join from anywhere, as I've said, and it helps with any technical difficulties or other problems in the event and helps the event to run smoothly. But with face-to-face meetups and events, We know that it may be difficult to have another host in your area, for example. So it's not always possible to have a co-host, which is absolutely fine. So we understand that, that may not be possible or may not be feasible. But you can find out on the Slack channel, which will be added to as an event and meetup post, or you can contact us and we can see if there's a co-host in your area who will be able to join you. So there's a couple of different options there, and you can see what works for you and just contact us with any questions. And a bit later on, we'll talk a bit more about safety. So hopefully you feel confident in being able to host the event on your own if you need to as well. Okay, so now we move on to choosing a venue. So there are quite a few important points with actually choosing a venue. So firstly, where the venue is. So in the past, as I've said, they've been in places like coffee shops or perhaps a pub. They're informal settings and they seem to work well. People can arrive and leave when they like and drop in and out. So that sort of setting usually works quite well. But see what you feel like. It depends what your meetup or event is as well, of course. Accessibility is really important. So make sure that the venue is accessible, that it's wheelchair accessible. Make sure there's different options for people, that there's room to move around, etc. That there's toilet facilities, disabled toilets, etc. Transport links. So make sure the venue has good public transport links. Make sure it's in an area that people can reach from different areas. Price, make sure the venue has inexpensive food and drink options so people can come along and just get something that isn't too expensive and that they're able to join in. Make sure there's public liability insurance and it's displayed in the venue. So if you're in the UK, this applies to you. If not, it may be called something different. So we've mentioned this on the safety checklist. So have a look at what the equivalent is in your area. And then finally, we've got a point on COVID-19. So in the UK, we don't have as much guidance on COVID-19 anymore, and the restrictions are all relaxed now. But I'm aware that across the world that might be different. So we've still got this guidance there, and it's important to still keep in mind. Obviously, only arrange it if you are able to in your local or regional area, and if you're allowed to with that guidance. So in terms of promoting your event and letting us know about it, once the details are sorted, there's a form on the volunteer zone, or you can email us at oustudents-meetups@open.ac.uk and you can email us with the details. We ask that you try and give 2 weeks notice if you can, so that we have time to promote the event. And we put the event on our website on the website events page. We encourage you to promote your event yourself. So you may want to do that on forums that you're part of, OU student forums, maybe Facebook groups, OU Facebook groups, or other places like that. If you don't have social media or you'd like any help with promotion, just let us know. We can also create an image for promotion if you'd like us to. We also promote events happening each week on our social media channels at the start of the week. We share that there's events coming up that week, so it's shared there, so you don't necessarily have to promote it yourself. We have an online magazine called The Hoot, which you could also use to promote your event. So it might be that you want to write an article about your experience of hosting once you've started, and you could then share if you've got a regular meetup, for example. So that's a good way to explain a little bit more about what the experience is like attending a meetup. As I said, it's an online magazine, so it would sort of be in an article format if you'd like to use that method. So again, continue with promoting your event. We ask that you don't share the venue address on social media, just share the link to the event page, which is on our website. So this hopefully reduces the risk of non-OU students attending. And please note that most events on our website are currently open to all to attend, and all can view the event details. They're not behind a login screen for OU students. So that means that attendees also usually don't register in advance either. But we can do this if you want to. So Usually events are just open on our website, the event details are there, people can just come along. But if you'd prefer people to actually register in advance and even receive the event details like the venue by email, just let us know, and that's something that we can look into. But the method for most of the events, as I said, is them being open to all, and we find that's sort of the easiest method for year round and the most effective, and reduces barriers for people attending as well. But the aside to that is that it's open to people to come along. So it's unlikely that non-OU students will attend, but we just wanted to make you aware of how the event promotion works. So it's really clear um, how your events are shown on the website, but just let us know if you've got any concerns about that. So now in terms of running your event, on the day it's important to arrive nice and early. You could put a sign on the table to show students where you are, for example, as it can be quite difficult if we don't know what the person looks like, or if it's a busy place. Welcome students and encourage them to introduce themselves and be a part of the discussion. Remember that some students might not have attended an event before, they might not know anything about the association, so it's important to introduce yourself. You could say, do you know about the Students Association and what they do, just to sort of ease them into the event. You can discuss with students how regularly they might like the meetups to be, or if it's just a one-off, that's fine. And if there'll be online meetups as well, so you can discuss in that first event if you'd like to. We ask that you please ask students if you could take some photos or videos if you feel comfortable to do that, to share with us, and make sure you ask permission for taking the photograph and to share it with us to be used on our platforms like our website, social media, and the newsletter. Photos and videos are really great because it shows students what a meetup is like and what they can expect. And we find that that can help to ease any worries about attending. People can actually see what it's going to be like. So please, please do share those with us if you can. After the event, do let us know how it went, how many students turned up. Email us or fill in the feedback form on the volunteer zone. And again, share your photos and stories with us. It's a great opportunity to mention the Hoot again about writing about your meetups. If they go well and you'd like more people to come along, it's a really great way to share a story of your meetups and invite more people to join. If you need to cancel your event, obviously let us know as much in advance as possible so we can make that clear on the website. But do note that we work office hours, so if it's at the weekend, we won't be able to make any changes to the website, so do let us know as soon as you can. So as a face-to-face event and meetup host, you can claim expenses when you're running in-person events. So this includes reasonable expenses for mileage and parking or for public transport to and from the meetup venue, and for tea, coffee, or soft drink when you're hosting your event. So in order to do this, have a read of our travel and subsistence policy, which is on the volunteer zone. There's two forms for you to complete: an expense claim form and the bank details form. They're all available on the volunteer zone, so you can have a look at that and see what you need to fill in. And then you submit those forms and your receipts, and scans or photographs are fine, by email to oustudents-meetups@open.ac.uk. So it's worth keeping that in mind. All the details are in the volunteer zone, so you can claim back reasonable expenses for hosting your event. So now we're going to look a little bit more at safety. So I've mentioned, I think, most of these things already, but there's a useful checklist on the volunteer zone which can help to see if you've done everything you need to. So I just wanted to highlight that. So we've spoken about accessibility, transport, and public liability insurance, making sure the venue's in a public place, letting someone know about the meetup. So we haven't mentioned that yet. It's important to let a relative or friend or someone know that you're going to a meetup, especially as you'll probably be hosting on your own. So it's important people know where you are. Check the local COVID guidance, as I've mentioned, and then there's a point on ventilation and room for social distancing. And some people still might prefer that scenario. Some people still might want to wear masks, so it's important to be aware of that, and to make sure there's room for people to be able to attend how they feel most comfortable. There's some important documents linked there, which are again on the volunteer zone. There's a hints, tips and guidance document for face-to-face events. There's also some guidance related to COVID-19, and there's the values and behaviour policy. So when we share face-to-face events on our website, we include a link to the values and behaviour policy for people to look at before they attend. So for face-to-face events, we use this policy, and for online events, we use a code of conduct. So with this policy, it's just making sure that everyone is respectful of each other, makes everyone feel welcome. So if anyone isn't adhering to the policy, have a read of it, remind them of it, and ask them to leave the meetup if you need to. So don't feel afraid to do that if a situation arises. And obviously note down their name or any other details that you have and let us know at oustudents-community@open.ac.uk. And obviously ask attendees if they're okay. They can always contact us to talk about it afterwards if they want. This is unlikely to happen in any situation like this, but we want you to feel prepared, so you can use this policy if you need to. Okay, so students who may need extra support. So from time to time, event hosts find that students access our events at times of crisis. It's important to be clear about the boundaries here and that our events are not a therapeutic space. So obviously, empathy and understanding are important, but it's not your responsibility to support students who find themselves in these difficult situations. So make sure you've got some key support links on hand. So we've got Talk Campus, we've got Shout 85258 and Samaritans. So make sure you've got these links and information on hand if people need it. Should you respond to a difficult situation like this, obviously let us know at the email address oustudents-community@open.ac.uk, and we can take the steps to support you. So this is just there to support you if you need it. So these are some helpful training recordings which go with what we've just mentioned. So the training was delivered by Emma Greenstein, who's a mental health advisor at the Open University. And the intention of the training is to help you feel better prepared. You may be responding to a student who is in severe distress or suicidal, and this applies to hosting an event or meetup online or in person as well. So this training covers some sensitive and upsetting topics, including suicide and self-harm, so please be aware of that before watching it. If you do want to watch it, look after yourselves and get in touch if you need to talk about anything. So there's dealing with difficult situations, and then there's responding to distress and suicidal students. The links to these are on the volunteer zone as well, if you'd like to look at those. And finally, after the event, please give us some feedback on how it went. So you can do so by filling in a feedback form, which is on the volunteer zone again, or emailing us, and send us some photographs if you can, as I've already mentioned. That'd be really great. So I hope that's been useful. If you're doing the face-to-face event to meetup post training, make sure you now complete the quiz for this training. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch.